and he was a neighbor of my parents, and he had rented out his parents' home that was in Kaysville. And turns out this lady that he rented it to had these. Well, he was a Section 8, number one. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Section 8 only paid $750, and the rent was like 1,050 or 1,150. I don't remember. And so she had to pay the difference. Well, she wasn't really doing that very often. And there was these late night visitors, and repeatedly. And so these late night visitors would show up and leave every hour or 2 hours. And then after a while, the neighbors figured out, I think she's hooking, right? And so they complained to her. They complained to him and says, "Hey, I think your tenant is a hooker." Mm-hmm. And he went and talked to her about it and stuff. And he wouldn't talk. She wouldn't talk to him. She wouldn't even come to the door. She wouldn't answer his phone calls. And he was going crazy. He calls me up and he says, "What do I do? What do I do? I don't want to." My parents referred him to me, so I wasn't going to charge you for anything. And he says, "Well, I'll tell you how I get her out." I said, "I just go up to her, offer $500, and got to be out in 24 hours. I'm not giving her any money. You know how much money she owes me? I would never do that." No. 6 months later, he calls me. Still having the same problem. But Section 8 is paying him the $750, so he's kind of one of those, well, I'm getting enough money, not full rent, but and so he calls me up and says, "Hey, you want to just buy it? Because I see your signs, and parents tell me you buy houses like this all the time." I said, "Well, all depends. I'd have to get it for a good price because you got that hooker in there." "Well, what will you give me? What's the lowest you'll take?" Right? And that's a good writer downer. So the question that I always ask, and I call it my magic question: if I give you all cash for this property tomorrow, what's the lowest you'll take?
Except with the abandoned signs in every node.
Except you have abandoned signs in your yard. Leave that out. So if I give you all cash for the property tomorrow, what's the lowest you'll take? Now, you're never going to give them cash tomorrow. What this question does is it helps get to a bottom basement number, because we want to know what their lowest number is. All right. If I give you all cash for this property tomorrow, what's the lowest you'll take? And then after that, you ask the second follow-up question. No matter what they say, is that the best you can do? If I give you all cash for this property tomorrow, what's the lowest you'll take? Is that the best you can do? That's exactly how you should say it. Okay, and that's what I asked him. And I said the same thing. Is that the best you can do? And he gave me a great price. Did you get that? Okay. All right. I reiterate it because you need to remember it. Zit it in there. It will take 7 exposures to new information to get it to stick. So I go up there and I go and knock on the door. She didn't come. Say, "Hey, I got some money for you here. Is anybody home?" Right? She comes to the door. "What? What do you mean money?" I said, "I'm gonna give you some money." She kind of opens the door a little bit and says, "Hey, I understand, we might be having some financial problem or whatever. I just ended up acquiring this property. And I want to see if we can work something out. If not, I'll give you $500 if you'll leave in 24 hours. She's like, "What?" Opens the door a little bit, get a little bigger. It says, "Well, if you'll leave in 24 hours, because I know, you're not able to meet the rent obligations. But, if you leave in 24 hours, I'll give you $500 cash." She's like, "You serious?" I says, "Yeah, here's my number." So I give her my card. "Here's my number. If you're interested, call me," right? And I got a call later on, said, "Okay, I'll do it." I said, "Okay, 24 hours. I got $500. She's a little bit longer than 24 hours, but I don't know where, but she got the help. She got everybody out. She was out in 24 hours. House was a mess, right? Left furniture and stuff, but the tenant was out. I had a professional cleaning company come in, $150, clean the whole place out, junked everything. It was all spick and span, had it rented and